Star Wars collectors, and welcome to another Bossk's Bounty video, and welcome to episode 45 of Asks Bossk Bounty. This is the weekly series where you guys get to ask me questions in the comments section below, and every week I do my very best to answer them. So if you do have a question for next week's episode, join in the fun and leave that question in the comment section below, and hopefully you will be featured next week. We have lots and lots of questions for this week's episode, so do stick around till the very end. And if you do happen to like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up down below. And also, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. And with all that being said, let's get on to the first question. Kavi Gandhi says, Star Wars has revealed that there will be a Bad Batch Clone Wars series. Do you think that Hasbro will release a Bad Batch special pack? I think it's entirely possible. There's how many of them? 4 or 5 in that gang, isn't there? 5, I think there is. So I'm not sure about a special pack. I think we'll probably see those figures in the Black Series before we'll see them in the Vintage Collection. But hopefully, when they do get round to doing them in the Vintage Collection, we'll get them on single cards, because I think that will look pretty damn awesome, those Bad Batch figures. They really do have their individual armour and things like that, and I just think as figures they'll translate really, really well. Gus Gilreath says, question for next week. How long do you think they will run the Vintage Collection for before they run out of characters? Wow, yeah, that's a good question. I don't think we'll ever run out of characters, if I'm brutally honest. I think there's still so many characters that they could do from all the various properties of Star Wars. You know, not least the original trilogy. There's still so more that we need from the original trilogy. Then, of course, you've always got new properties that they're coming out with, or new media. You know, we've got the Kenobi series on the horizon, the Cassian series. We've got countless figures from the Mandalorian that we're still expecting. So I don't think it's a fact that they'll run out of characters. I really do hope that they do continue the Vintage Collection as the sort of main line of 3.75. But you do have to wonder with the whole numbering system on the back how high that can actually go. I mean, I think by this time next year it'll be at least 200. So that's 200 figures in the Vintage Collection. And if you put them on the wall like I do, you're going to need a lot of space. And that space is fast running out. I've already had to sort of put some figures away that I don't feel need to be on the wall anymore. Maybe older versions. So for example, the older Darth Maul, I no longer have him on the wall. I have the reissue because I prefer the way that they've put the accessories and stuff in the bubble. I just think it looks better. But if obviously I had space, then I would probably have all variants next to each other and things like that. But if you think about it, when all these figures keep coming and we get into the 200s, 300s, 400s, you know, how are you going to display all these figures? It's going to make it difficult. But I think it's a good problem to have. Ithers says, how do you feel about the rumour that Bossk is coming to the Mandalorian? Well, obviously I would be over the moon if Bossk was in the Mandalorian. I think that would be absolutely superb, seeing him in his yellow flight suit. It would be brilliant. The rumours, I think, stemmed from the gallery sort of making of Mandalorian that they had on Disney+. One of the episodes at the very end, they kind of had this big thing on the screen with Bossk and a big B next to it. And that might have suggested that he may be in it, but I don't know. Who knows? But it would be great. I'd be over the moon if that happened. 21st Century Dude says, my question for the weekly chat. In your opinion, what is the best 3.75 inch Boba Fett figure ever made? I.e. non-vintage Kenner, Palatoy Boba Fett, so 5 POA or otherwise. Thanks. So yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? Because a lot of the Boba Fetts that have come out are good for different reasons. So for example, my personal favourite is the Vintage Collection version, the VC09. I do like that figure. Not really sure it needed the removable helmet, but still I think it looks like a decent Empire Strikes Back version of Boba Fett. I also do like the VOTC version, which is this guy here. He has the Return of the Jedi colours, and he is obviously not on the Return of the Jedi card back. He's from 2004, I believe, Vintage Original Trilogy Collection. He was actually repacked in the Vintage Collection on VC09 on the, I think it might be the Revenge of the Jedi card of this figure here. So those two are my personal favourites. However, I think the most recent 5 POA version that came in the 2-pack with Han Solo, I'll whack a picture of that on screen because I don't have that figure to hand, but the head sculpt or helmet sculpt on that figure, in my opinion, is one of the best Boba Fetts that we've had. And if this guy didn't have the removable helmet, you could easily just plonk that helmet on this guy and it'd look awesome. Neil Robinson says, Bosky, sorry for the second question, but I was wondering if you had any tips on staying financially secure while collecting. Some of these YouTubers seem to buy anything and everything and don't know when to stop. Much love from California. Yeah, I think you do need to be a bit careful from YouTubers. I mean, for example, myself, I don't really earn a lot of money from YouTube, and that isn't where I get my money that I invest into my collection, as it were, or buy the figures that I want. Obviously, I will buy most of the vintage collection stuff that comes out, but I think you do need to limit yourself to certain areas. So, for example, you know, if you want to remain financially secure, I wouldn't advise buying every vintage collection figure, every Black Series figure, then all the hot toys, all the sideshows, statues, all that kind of thing. I wouldn't advise doing that. Maybe just focus on one area. But at the same time, I think a lot of the money that I generate for my collection, for purchasing the vintage collection items that I have, has come from other areas. So, for example, I've said before, I sold a lot of my Lego Star Wars, which was now worth a lot more money than it was when I originally bought it. So that's just the kind of way I do things. I sort of circulate the money around. Obviously, I do need to spend some of the money that I make from my day job, but as long as you're sensible and you're paying your mortgage and you're paying your bills, then I don't think there's a problem, really. Owen Weekert says, well done as always. How much of the 6-inch Black Series line do you collect? So, as I just mentioned in the previous question, my sole focus really is the vintage collection, but I do buy the odd Black Series figure, and with the red and black boxes, they never really sort of caught my eye. I didn't buy everything. I only bought the figures that I really liked. However, these new boxes are catching my eye now. Maybe I want to become like an inbox collector of the Black Series. You know, maybe I'm not too bothered about opening those ones up, whereas with the vintage collection, I always keep one carded, but I do like to open them up for the loose collection as well. I don't really want to mix scales in my collection too much, where I've got a Black Series figure up here and little ones there. I just think it gets a bit muddled. So in those terms, I've never really collected the Black Series. I've only ever sort of picked and choosed. But with the new boxes coming out, with the sides all matching up and making one long image, I think those look pretty cool, and I may have to start collecting those. So just a bit of a break from the questions. I did want to just show you some of the things that I have on show here that I've recently picked up. So first of all, I have the vintage speeder bike here, which Bossk is having a little go on there. I do have one of these boxed, in its box, in an acrylic case. Really nice item, but I did want one loose to sort of sit on top. So this one is a fully complete one. It even has the little sort of dust flaps on the back there, and the exploding thing works, has the gun underneath. Has all the parts and everything, really complete. Nice example. So glad I got one of those. I also picked up something that I've been after for a very long time, and this is a Kenner carded AT-AT driver. This is something that I've been after for ages. I wanted a really nice example. I didn't want an offer sticker, because often the offer stickers on these cards cover the main picture of the AT-AT driver, which is a bit unfortunate because he's so big on the card. So I wanted an offerless version and one that didn't have a yellow bubble. Now this bubble is very, very slightly going yellow, but it's still nice and clear in my opinion, and I just think it's a lovely example of the card. So that's going straight in a acrylic case and onto my shelf with all my others. And this one, this is a Palitoy Bossk. So you'll notice there that we don't have the Kenner logo at the bottom, and we also have this drop shadow here on the Empire Strikes Back logo. So this is a Palitoy Bossk. You can see here the Palitoy company. Now, there was a worry that this was going to be a Toy Tony fake, which is where the guy got loads and loads of cardstock, original cardstock and bubbles, but got an old figure in the bubble and basically sealed the cards up himself. But I've had this verified by a couple of experts now, and I've got to say they've both said that it's a genuine example, which is awesome, because the amount of money that I paid for this on the Vectis auctions online is far less than its actual worth, which is really good. But I already have a Kenner carded Bossk, and I wanted a Palitoy one to go next to it. I must also say I do want to thank John from the Action Figure Grader, who lives in the States. This one was actually bought on a Facebook group that most of the people are based in the States, and he wouldn't deliver outside of the States. So John, my friend, we got it posted to him, and then he sent it over to me, and I want to just say a big thank you for doing that, mate. I really appreciate it. Ed5 says, question, if you had a choice, would you go for the Palitoy Death Star or the Kenner Death Star? That's an easy one for me, my friend. That would have to be the Palitoy Death Star. Yeah, I'm a bit biased because obviously Palitoy are from England, and I'm from England, but I just think it's a better playset all round anyway. Alicio Bazan says, hey boss, great video. I have a question for next week. What's your favourite part of The Mandalorian? Ooh, wow, there's a lot of decent parts in The Mandalorian. I enjoyed it, most of it, 99% of it I enjoyed. But I've got to say, I enjoyed most the episode with the Sandcrawler. I thought that was brilliant, that whole scene where he's fighting with the Jawas. I enjoyed when he went to the cantina. That was awesome. And also the final 2 episodes with the battle outside the sort of bar and everything, with all the stormtroopers, Moff Gideon. That was amazing. Bill Pork says, love your channel, Tim. I have a question for next week. Is there a figure or playset that you had the chance to pick up but passed on for one reason or another that you regret passing up? For me, it's the Vintage Collection Luke in crate outfit. Yeah, that Luke figure's starting to go up in value, isn't he? He's a bit sought after these days. I think in the UK we can still pretty much get him for like maybe £20 on eBay, but I think in the States he's getting a bit rare, isn't he? But yeah, there's definitely a playset that I regret passing up, and that's when I was in the States last Christmas. I was in Florida on a family holiday, and I could have picked up the exclusive Vandor playset for Solo, the cardboard one. But for one reason or another, I didn't pick it up. I thought it might have been a bit heavy in the suitcase, because they are quite heavy, those playsets. So I was a bit gutted I didn't pick that one up. Josh B says, I've been wanting to ask this but keep forgetting. Do you have discount stores over there similar to our Ollie's and Five Below that have carried Star Wars Vintage Collection figures at really low prices? And how much do you think people should be able to resell those low priced figures? Okay, so we only have the one shop, and it's called The Entertainer, and it's a bit weird because it does sell sort of brand new toys, but when it comes to Star Wars, they often get sort of stock from elsewhere. They had a lot of the Black Series 3.75 inch figures come over from Italy or Spain, and they recently had the second and third waves of the Vintage Collection, and they were knocking those out for £3.75. Loads of people picked up the Range Trooper and the Tank Driver for £3.75, and then the Entertainer sort of got wise to the fact that these were flying out the door, and then they put them up to £5, and now they're up to £9. But up until now, the Entertainer hasn't got any of the new waves. They are starting to appear on their website, so we're really, really hopeful that you'll be able to go into an Entertainer store and actually see the new wave of Vintage Collection figures, but they'll just be standard retail price. It's only the sort of older stock where they really discount it. But in terms of Ollie's and Five Below, we have Poundland and Home Bargains, which are 2, I guess, but often in there is just 5 POA figures, which are, 10 a penny, and then they don't really interest me. What do I think about people that resell those figures that they got at low prices? Yeah, I mean, if they pick up 1 or 2 for themselves, that's fine. If they go in and just take the whole lot and then stick them on eBay, I'm not too fond of that, obviously. Randy S says, question for you. The Kenneth Snaggletooth is based on Zutmore from the Holiday Special, while Tequil and Zooton are both in A New Hope. Which would you prefer on a vintage card? I would prefer the updated Zutmore rather than one of the humpbacked Snivians from the movie. Yeah, I would prefer the one that's on the card back personally. So that's Zutmore. I would much prefer that. I do know that the Vintage Collection 3-pack, one of those does have one of the humpback ones. Yeah, I would prefer the Zutmore figure. Rennie's review says, if they do make the TVC Rex, do you think that the card will be a picture from Umbara? Also, what is your opinion on the Umbara arc? Yeah, I love that arc. That's the one with Ponkrell, isn't it? I don't really like him much as a character. People know that already. But I do like those episodes. He's kind of like a rogue Jedi, isn't he? And he sends them into their almost certain death. Good episodes. Love the CGI in those episodes. Really, really good. As for an image, I personally think that they'll use a image from one of the most recent episodes where Rex is just kind of standing there, and then obviously they'll replace the head with a realistic head, like they've done with the ARC Trooper 5's card back, which just got announced. Really, I think someone's got those in hand. I'll whack an image up on the screen so you can see how they've done that. But yeah, I think they'll probably do that with the card back. But I'm looking forward to finding out exactly what they're going to do. Rod C says, hey Boss Bounty, I love your videos, and this one I loved it too, so thank you very much for that, Rod. I have a question for next week. Do you think we'll ever get a 3.75 inch scale Ghost? The Rebel ship. And also, do you think we'll get the Razor Crest, same scale? Thanks for the info, and may the force be with you. So I think yakface.com, great guy, always comes out of the information. He has rumoured that the Razor Crest is most certainly on the way. That is great news. Whether it will be announced as a HasLab is another matter. He didn't mention that part, so we've got to wait and see what that is. But I personally feel that they'll do that as a regular release, maybe the size of the Slave 1, but as the Razor Crest, and I think that'll be awesome. We definitely need that for this guy here, don't we? That'll be super, super cool. As for the Ghost, I really, really do hope so, but I don't think we're going to get that ship until we get any of the figures. And there's no rumours out there just yet that we're going to get any of the Rebels characters in 3.75. I really think it's something they should do. I mean, it's a card back logo that we're missing, isn't it? And obviously they've all come out now in the Black Series, so come on Hasbro, give us those Ghost crew and give us Agent Callas while you're at it. Bartolo Vader says, hello Bossk, this is a rare question, but do you play with loose figures sometimes? Sometimes I want to take my figures and play with them for a short time and feel like a child. Yeah, I would love to do that. I can never get myself in the mindset to do that. I'm just too old for that. However, I do have a 7-year-old son who is Star Wars mad, and I often hear him playing Star Wars in his room, and I kind of stand outside listening to his little battles that he's having. And I have to admit, I have gone in there and joined him. More to just sort of connect with him and enjoy it with him. But yeah, no, I don't really play with them on my own, unfortunately, or as much as I'd probably like to. Alright then guys, that is it for this week. Thank you very much for watching as usual. Don't forget to drop a like down below if you did enjoy this video, and of course leave your questions for next week's episode. Keep this series going. We're only 5 away from episode 50. Can you believe that? Episode 50. But thank you very much for watching as usual, and of course, we'll see you on the next one.